Welcome to Psalm 101. I think I'm going to change this title from Mercy and Judgment to An Unblemished Way. As we go through it, you'll see that the author of this psalm really doesn't fit all the things that are required in this psalm. He falls way short. There's only one person in history who follows all of this, fulfills all of this. And that's Jesus Christ. And he's throughout this psalm, I believe. I'll read a little in Greek, and then we'll go into the psalm. Psalmos to David, Elion ke krisin asomesi Kyrie, psalo ke siniso in odo amomo. A psalm attributed to David. Mercy and judgment I shall sing to you, O Lord. Now, I think I'm going to change a little bit here and add for mercy and judgment I shall sing to you, O Lord, and put the for in italics, because he's singing that this is what he wants from God, not that he's going to give God this. I shall strum and I shall perceive in an unblemished way. So here, I believe we're going to begin with the unblemished way, and either as an ideal that the writer of the psalm is looking forward to, or it fits a description of Jesus. To me, it's the second one. An unblemished way is one that doesn't sin, that has no blemishes, and I don't know of any human that would fit that unblemished way. In Hebrews 9:14, but it says, how much more the blood of the Christ, who through eternal Spirit offered himself unblemished to God, shall cleanse your conscience from dead works for serving the living God. So there we see that he was unblemished. When shall you come to me? Now, who is the me? Is that David, or could be Jesus? I traveled in the innocence of my heart. I don't see that in David. In the midst of my house. David's house revolted against him with Absalom. But Jesus, was innocent. I did not set before my eyes an illegal thing. Illegal refers to a codex that determines what's acceptable or not acceptable. Now, there's many codexes. The one codex, main one, is God's codex, which is the Bible. And it relates to different peoples at different times. It relates to Abraham, and before him, Noah, and the people that were before the law. Then it refers to Moses and the people of the law. They had their own codex. And then the New Testament codex of Jesus Christ. And God's codex has certain things that are illegal, would be violations. That would be adultery, pride, idolatry, and not obeying the Sabbath as far as the Jews were concerned. But man's codex is the laws. They don't care about adultery anymore, not in the United States. It's not against the law. Pride is not against the law. In idolatry, you can believe in whatever you want. And the Sabbath doesn't mean too much for anybody that's not a Jew anymore. So that is illegal. But then it says, I detested one's committing violations. And the violations, this word here only appears once in the Old Testament, but many times in the New Testament. And the violations are doing what's not accepted in the Codex. In the Codex that I live in, Oregon, state of Oregon, we have speed limits, and if I go too fast, I'm in violation, I can get a ticket. God's Codex, God, if you break his Codex, then judgment will find you one way or the other, either now in this world or again in the future, not the future, on the other side with the judgment day. In Romans 4:15, it says about that, for the law manufactures wrath. For where there is not law, not even is there a violation. So basically, if I didn't have the law of Oregon and they didn't have anything about driving in it, I could go as fast as I want. I wouldn't be breaking a law. But with the law, there is a violation, it's saying, and with God, the same thing. And then it says, turning aside from me was the wicked man I knew not. Didn't want to know who this wicked man was. I'm sorry, and then the first, a crooked heart cleave not to me. Turning aside from me was the wicked man I knew not. A crooked heart. You can be crooked, but not wicked. You can be a man like the President of the United States called Richard Nixon, who they called him Tricky Dick, because as he said himself as he was leaving the White House, I'm not a crook. Was very famous for him saying it. I am not a crook. But yet he was a crook. He had these men go in and break into the Watergate Hotel, to the offices of the Democratic Party, to find out what was up with them against the Republicans. But he was a crooked man, but yet you can be crooked but not actually breaking any codex. But wicked is also here, the wicked man I knew not, and the wicked is something that can also be called evil. The word ponyru can be, or ponyros in the nominative can be either wicked or evil. He was the evil man I knew not, or the wicked man I knew not. Basically, when I think of the wicked, I think of it has basically something to do with works or words. You know, your words are wicked, or your words are wicked. I think of a little boy who the parents say, "You wicked little boy," when he hit somebody or did something bad, destroyed something, or was tattling. They call him a wicked little boy. And then in 5, it continues, the one speaking ill in private of the ones near him. This one I drove out. And the key to this is the speaking. And the speaking has to do with your mouth. In James 4:11, he says, do not speak ill of one another, brothers. And then in James 3:5, it says, so also the tongue is a small member and brags. Behold, a little fire, how much material it lights, and burns up the tongue. He's relating it to destroying. And then in Jude 1:16, it says, these are grumblers, being discontented, going according to their desires. And their mouth speaks pompous things, admiring a person for the benefit of favor, and their mouth. So now we have the mouth and the tongue. In 1 Peter 3:10, it fulfills the whole thing. It says, for the one wanting to love life and to behold good days, let him cease his tongue from evil and his lips to not speak deceit. Now, the voice, the speaking, comes through the members of through the mouth, the lips, and the tongue, and the fluctuations and air going through it. So it's quite a process to speak, and the brain tells it how to fluctuate the airflow and where to move your mouth and all sorts of things. It's a very intricate process, and so it's speaking ill is not what it says. I drove the person out that did this. Then he said, a proud eye and insatiable heart. And now remember, in pride, no problem with the world. So it lifts up pride. You should be proudful of what you've done, proud of your race and all sorts of things. Proud that you're a woman, or proud that you're a man, proud that you're an American. proud that you're Canadian, proud that you're from Zimbabwe, whatever. All this pride, pride, pride. But yet with God, he denounces pride. But with the government, it's okay. But King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon was prideful, and he's telling all the people all the things that he did, how wonderful he was. He conquered the world, but yet God said, because of your pride, then you're going to be eating grass like animals for a certain period of time, which happened to him. And an insatiable heart. This one I ate not with. And an insatiable heart is somebody I see that's either self-centered, selfish, and constantly wanting something. There's a difference between being self-centered and selfish. You can be selfish, wanting things for yourself. You want certain material things for yourself. But self-centered is basically having somebody directing them of what you want to do or not to do. Selfishness more or less has to do with having material goods and keeping them for yourself. But you can be very generous, but yet self-centered, where you give people a lot of things, but yet you want everything to go your way. You want your spouse to do what you want to do. You want your kids to do what you want to do, and you're completely self-centered. And then there's the person that's constantly wanting. And that's not necessarily the other two. It's just that you're constantly wanting. It's insatiable, the insatiable heart. Instead of giving, you're wanting, and it just never stops. And maybe a person like that would be gathering all kinds of material goods, and opposite of giving help to other people when he has the chance or the money or the ways and the means, or gambling your money away, using it for what you want to use it for. Then it continues in 6. My eyes, ophthalmi, ophthalmologist, my eye is a derivative. My eyes are upon the trustworthy of the land, okay? For them to sit together with me, going in an unblemished way. Again, we have that unblemished way. Now, I don't see this fitting David. He wasn't unblemished. He's a man that did a lot of things that were terrible and killed a lot of people. This one officiated to me, but yet Jesus fills this. And we read it earlier about his being unblemished. One having pride dwelt not in the midst of my house. And I'm sure prideful people dwelt with David, but not Jesus wouldn't apparently allow that. One speaking unjust did not conduct anything before my eyes. Now, this could be Jesus on earth, or it could be him in the future when he returns. Into the morning, I killed all the sinners of the land. Well, now there you'd say, well, I have a hard time with Jesus killing all the sinners of the land. Yeah, he came not to judge people, but to deliver them. But he will return with a rod of iron, and I'm not sure about killing anybody or allowing them to be killed, but this seems to fit more towards David, of course. Then it ends up to utterly destroy from out of the city of the Lord all the ones practicing lawlessness. Now, this could be referring to the city of the Lord on Mount Meron, where lawlessness is not allowed, and the people are not. They're not there. They're gone. So this whole psalm to me sounds more like Jesus than it does David. Now, all the things that bad things that were mentioned, what not to do, so forth, I came up with a lot of those by looking at my life and looking at the things that I did, and started thinking about all the things that fit this description of being selfish, self-centered, on and on. And so it was easy for me to figure these things out and to write about them, because all I had to do is look at myself. And hopefully we will all look at ourselves and put them up against our actions up against Jesus and say, I want to be like you. Psalm 102, the discouraged hope in the Lord. Well, I'm discouraged at times, but yet I hope in the Lord. It's something, it's in the future. The hope is, it's not in the past. Now, we'll find out more about this discouragement and hope in Psalm 102. I hope you'll join us in the next video seminar. And until then, God bless.